6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and start with item one, the call to order, determination of quorum. So we'll do a roll call. I'm Russell Byerly, Chair.
Christy, is it on? Hello.
Yes.
Christy Evans, Vice Chair. Okay.
Patsy, at large.
Brandy Wilbur, at large.
Luis Garcia, at large.
Fantastic. We have a quorum. We're going to move on to item two, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have general public comment. Do we have any general? Yes.
Before I start, I want to ask if I could get two separate 3 minutes because I'm representing the school as a bus driver on one and my neighbors on another, if that's possible.
Well, I don't think we can give you 3 minutes twice right now because you are physically a single person.
Yeah.
But you can speak again at the end of the meeting
Okay.
and then also on each item
Okay.
that's agendized for public comment.
Actually, I'll cover the school bus thing first then. Okay, just bringing up my list of things. My name is Taylor Hubler. I am a resident here in Gerlach and the school bus driver for Gerlach K through 12. This time of year is a time that I say is the most dangerous for me to drive as a school bus driver. I want to start by saying thank you so much to the sheriff's department and all the law enforcement and the work that they did. They did a great job, and I did feel safer on some items. I'm going to cover the items where I didn't feel as safe, but I don't think that's necessarily in your control. And I know that you're actually working hard to combat some of this from the conversations I've had with the sheriff's department. But I wanted it to be on the record and to make people aware of it as well. So all the general things that make me say that the traffic is dangerous passing by impatient drivers, passing on no passing lanes, passing on blind hill and turns, large vehicles driven by inexperienced drivers who probably only drive them once a year, improper strapping and covering of loads, vehicles that haven't been properly inspected after a year and sitting in a lot, and maybe a danger to others on the road for the following reasons: bad brakes, bad tires, loose panels, engine issues, cracked windshields. However, the thing that I really want to stress here is items related to transport of camps and art cars, because this ended up becoming an issue for me this year. Drivers who do not have the expertise or training to move what they are driving, speeding in these vehicles, dangerous passing in these vehicles, oversized loads, missing flags, banners, and even pilot cars where required, driving unregistered vehicles on public roads, driving art cars that should be on flatbeds and are illegal to move on public roads. A site out on 34 is actually where a lot of this is coming from. They're on the mile marker 16 across from Fly Ranch. The person that's running that, I believe, is using labor that is not properly registered or licensed to do this. A lot of the more dangerous and possibly even illegal action regarding moving of art cars and camps came from this site. I know from what I've been told and my own eyes, witnessing a 14-year-old driving a vehicle that they shouldn't have been driving, hired by this individual. I was also told that this 14-year-old and their father, who also worked for this person, allegedly have not been paid thousands of dollars for their labor. That same site is also blatantly ignoring laws regarding the movement and transport of large vehicles and loads. And the thing that really got me kicked off about figuring out what's going on there, distracted drivers who have been spotted looking at their phones and not on the road, driving in my lane of traffic towards me. So I had two close calls that could have ended in serious injury if there had been a collision. Both came from people moving something to that new storage site on 34. The first one was when the person running that site was on their phone while driving and had their vehicle fully in my lane. They looked up and pulled away just in time to avoid a head-on collision. The second instance came when I was forced to drive with two wheels off of the road. While an oversized and frankly illegal to drive on the road art car was taking up part of my lane and the shoulder. I watched them take out a post on the shoulder. That car should have been transported on a flatbed. Is that my 3 minutes? Okay. So I can continue going on, and if I have to stand up and add more to this later, I will.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any more general public comment?
You do have two people online with their hands raised.
Fantastic. You promote?
Yes, I will call on them.
Hold on, we're having technical with our.
First up is John Herrera. Or, I'm sorry, Greg Herrera. I'm so sorry.
Hey, good evening. Hey, Candy, I'll go with John Herrera. That works tonight. Good evening to the Gerlach Cab and everyone in attendance. For the record, my name is Greg Herrera, and I work for Burning Man's Government Affairs team. Also in attendance tonight from our team are Katie Hoffman and Pete Dronkers. We're here tonight to listen to feedback and capture information. I think everybody's aware at this time, many of us just left the playa, and there hasn't been enough time between the conclusion of the event and tonight's meeting to fully be prepared to address concerns. And we do appreciate the feedback that we're hearing. We're in the process of scheduling debriefs with our partnering agencies in order to gather statistical data along with their feedback. And what I can say and point out tonight is the following. Burning Man's temporary closure order is still in effect, as our NDOT permits. Both playa restoration and highway cleanup operations are underway. All the support operations needed for resto and highway cleanup are still in effect, include NVO, DPW, our admin, and our shoreline operations. And the rest of event operations that have been operational for months straight are now returning to home bases outside of Gerlach and the playa. And transportation of infrastructure are happening to Black Rock Station, and that's recently been completed. Thank you.
Thank you. You said we had a second commenter, Candy?
Yes, Brian Beffert would like to say something.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. Hello, everyone. For the record, Brian Beffert, Sustainability Manager with Washoe County, and Candy is sharing the screen. I just wanted to give you all an update on our fundraising campaign to help fund microgrid for the building you're sitting in. And this has been a GoFundMe campaign that's been up for a few weeks now. So far, as of last night, we have raised $2,300. And it's not as much as I had hoped. Like, as I said at the last meeting, if every participant at Burning Man donated just $1, you folks would have a microgrid on top of your building. We didn't get there, but it's a good start. And I would like to say several people in the room and in the community have been very generous. So thank you for that. But now we have a good foundation. This GoFundMe has some really good platforms for sharing campaigns on across social media and in other media. This could be a place for any funds that may be coming to the community to invest in the microgrid. Currently, I hold the keys to that, but that is not my intention. I do not need to be the sole owner, and I will not have the time in the coming months to give this the full attention it needs. And so I'd be happy to work with this cab or the GGID to help other people get access to the account so you can go forth and raise more money so we can all build a microgrid.
Yes, please.
Go ahead. And really, that's it. That's my update. You folks know how to reach me. If not, Candy can help you. And I'd be happy to carry on the conversation in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you. Further public comment? Fine. Andy, no. Fine.
There's no more online public comment.
Wonderful. Moving on to item 4, approval of the minutes for the meetings of August 14th, 2025. So if we've all gone through them, I'll hear a motion.
Move that we approve the minutes of August 14th, 2025.
And
Do we have any general public comment on the minutes? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Russell, can you say who
Yes.
seconded that motion? I'm sorry.
That was Luis Garcia.
Thank you.
Item 5, public safety updates. Do we have a representative from Washoe County Sheriff's? Wonderful.
Hi, Deputy Jackson Cruz, Washoe County Sheriff's Office. I'd imagine all of you saw what we saw for the most part. And I'm sure some of you will have specific things that you would like us to be aware of and address for next year's event. As always, I welcome any input you have for me. There will be, as Greg Herrera mentioned, statistics forthcoming regarding how many calls of a certain type that we addressed over the course of the event, et cetera. From my perspective, I think the biggest challenges that we dealt with were the traffic backups in town, which tend to come with people setting up camp on the roadway. So it was kind of like doing a wake up call along the roadway a few times for a bunch of people to let them know that it was time to go to Burning Man. Other than that, as I always say, I'll take questions now or later afterward, but that's about all I've got for you. Yes, sir.
All the traffic being stopped on the main road itself. That's an interstate highway, and that shouldn't be that way. It should be open or through traffic, supposed to be. Just stopping it out there, people parked in a lane for close to 24 hours, it's not kosher.
So the question regards traffic backing up on Highway 34, I take it, and 447 during the closures and some of the congested periods of ingress and egress. I can tell you that when those occurred, we responded to them as quickly as possible in a way that, kept people as safe as possible given the circumstances, but I certainly agree that it's not ideal. And I'm sure there will be some discussions with the other area law enforcement agencies regarding what we could do about that in the future.
Yeah, that's off the whole emergency vehicle, everything.
It does. Yep. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the board? No, thank you.
Chair Byerly, John
Yes.
Ray from Royal Ambulance is online, and he said that he would like to provide his update virtually tonight.
Fantastic. We would love to hear it.
One moment.
Good evening, everyone. My apologies that I unfortunately can't be there with you tonight. John Ray Hassan from Royal Ambulance. Have just a few brief updates for you this month. Your on-duty crew is there with you, and that's Robbie and Corey. They're two of our full-time EMS personnel up in Gerlach. We are now fully staffed. We've got 3 full-time EMTs and 3 full-time medics. These crews have been in Gerlach 24/7. We were in service 100% of the time, all throughout the month of August, and have continued that 100% in service time throughout the month of September so far as well. During the period of time since the last cab, we've responded or handled 20 incidents. Of those 20 incidents, only 2 have resulted in ground transport. An additional 2 have resulted in air transport, and the balance were either treat and release incidences, or 4 of those were cancellations or unable to locate patients. We did transition into the Gerlach ambulances on August 13th. So we're now operating out of the red and white ambulance that's branded Gerlach Fire, with the big blue ambulance as a secondary backup ambulance. We are working on a get to know the EMS staff sheet, with the idea being that we've got 6 folks who are now all full-time and assigned to Gerlach. Everyone's working a 7-day on, 14-day off schedule. So when people are in Gerlach, very much embedded in the community, out and about, and really want people to feel comfortable knowing who the EMS providers are in town. And likewise, I know that all of the crew that we've hired specifically for Gerlach is very passionate about getting involved in the community and being out and about. As we sort of transition into the fall here, we are working on putting together some sort of community CPR class, ideally with some degree of stop the bleed training for folks. We just think that's a really important thing to do and get out there. And we'll likely be looking at some dates, probably in either end of October or early November to put that on. No real substantial impact for us with Burning Man operations, other than just a lot more dust in Gerlach. Once again, the ambulance stayed in service with a dedicated crew based out of Gerlach, staffed 24/7 during that time frame. And of the 2 ground ambulance transports that occurred in the past month, neither of those ground ambulance transports really occurred during that 2-week operational period. So with that, once again, my apologies that I unfortunately can't be there in person with everyone tonight, but glad to answer any questions.
Oh, thank you. Russell Byerly for the record. I have a question. At the time that I think we last discussed this, it was not known how you would be able to continue offering service beyond December 1st with the current budget from Washoe County. Have there been any developments on that front?
Yes, County Manager Solera and I have communicated about this, and I believe we're working on an additional plan with the county. The state has indicated I think, understanding of the challenging situation, and for unplanned staffing incidents. So while this wouldn't work for the December 3-month period, for unplanned incidents, will allow us to utilize a QRV. So for example, if we get a sick call or a sudden unexpected last-minute staffing deal, to still be able to provide some degree of first response, but that's not a long-term plan. And County Manager Solera and I have communicated on establishing a longer-term plan.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Christy Evans.
Hey, Christy Evans. John Ray, just still use the school as the landing zone for care flight?
Yes, the school is still a landing zone that can be used for care flight. I believe we landed care flight there twice, 2 or 3 times in October.
Working.
You mean August?
Yes, August. I'm sorry.
No, it doesn't work half the time. Anyway, welcome to our Gerlach thing. And were there any challenges with the car crashes or car accidents for response? I mean, that was my concern going into Burning Man, just because we don't have the fire department. But
I will admit, I think we got fortunate in that respect, that we didn't have any vehicle accidents that required extrication. Our crews did respond to a few vehicle accidents. One of them ended up being a more serious injury accident on 447. I believe technically it was in Pyramid Lakes response area. It was just mile marker 37, I believe. And both of those patients were transported via air.
But it sounds like overall we lucked out and everyone was hopefully okay and it worked out. So thank you.
Yes.
Other questions or comments from the board? Nope, seeing none. Do we have questions or comments from the public? No one in chambers. Is there anyone online, Candy? There is not. Thank you very much, John Ray.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Community update.
Afternoon, everybody. Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager. I don't know how my name keeps showing up on these agendas. I'm really here for the next item. So, no, in all seriousness, I'm hopeful that Mr. Byerly will assist me through this process. We have been working, trying to work through the situation we're in without fire service, trying to get everybody up to speed with physicals and the insurance and everything necessary to become successful up here. Our service provider is Truckee Meadows Fire. That's Washoe County's service provider for fire. There's a contract and interlocal agreement. I've provided all that information to the volunteers. Currently have 2 people nearing completion of all of the proper paperwork to make sure we're all up to speed. So if something occurs and OSHA comes in and says, "Hey, whatever occurred with this training record," we have all of that information put together. So we're getting very close to having at least 2 members of the volunteers fully up to speed to start being able to respond. The insurance is in place on all the vehicles. The insurance is in place for the volunteers that I have on the roster. I would like to make a press for the community. Again, if you would like to volunteer for this community in a firefighting capacity, there you can do it in one of 2 ways. You can direct your questions, concerns directly to the volunteer fire department in town, 501c3, or you can go on the Truckee Meadows Fire website. There's a volunteer here, and that information will get with them. Through both avenues, we'll make sure that we get you connected with the right people, the right training, the right physicals, all of those things to become a volunteer, to become successful. Now, in the longer term, we've been talking through, really what does this look like? We're trying to get people on board now to get up to speed so that when we have a vehicle accident that requires extrication, there are tools able to be deployed and taken to the scene and help out Royal Ambulance. We still have Pyramid Lake and Truckee Meadows Fire coming this way, but a lot of times 2 hours is a long time to be trying to wait to cut someone out of a vehicle. That's short term. Longer term, we're still looking through. The volunteers have given me, some direction that they would really like to create a what's called an NRS 474 fire district, which is a standalone fire district. That is what Truckee Meadows Fire is. I believe that is also what Incline Fire is considered. They've got a district, they've got funding, they've got this whole process. Quite frankly, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get there just because of the funding and the tax base to get there. But certainly we will work through that process to see if we can stand up a full-blown fire district in northern Washoe County, north of Township 22. That is the request of the volunteers. We will go down that path and see what's happening. On the other front, we also have a new fire chief with Truckee Meadows Fire. And there's been some discussion with him. I think I've talked to this community before about expanding their service territory a little bit further north than Township 22 to cover Red Rock and Warm Springs Valley. He also would like to talk through maybe going up to the Oregon border. So that's just an initial conversation we've had with him because I'm going to anticipate this question. There is also a meeting coming up with him and Chair Hill to talk about payment in lieu of taxes and what does that look like in this scenario. So I wanted to make sure that was covered because I know that question's coming. You bet. I'm getting better at this. And so Russell, maybe I could impose upon you to give your perspective from working with Truckee Meadows Fire and kind of, where you see things headed, please.
I would love to. Bear with me. I have no idea what's going on with our microphones tonight, so I'll just try to be as loud and obnoxious as I can, and hopefully everyone can hear me. I have been working with Truckee Meadows to try to get all my certifications in place, and we have to repeat our physicals. Pyramid Lake physicals are no good for TM. So I think I should be ready to start responding after my second physical in a couple weeks. Greg Nielsen, the other volunteer who was pretty close to being able to start responding. He caught a bad case of Burning Man and has been out of circulation for a few weeks, but he's about to be able to start checking boxes. Hopefully within a month, maybe we will have everything we need to be able to respond when we have a call for a fire. But TM also, Truckee Meadows is primarily a wildland firefighting organization, and this is wildland season. So they have a lot going on right now as well. We're not really sure what the limiting factor is, but we're moving forward at whatever rate we can. This 474 district is not a today solution to our fire department problem. It may be a permanent solution, but it may be years away. So we're trying to do whatever we can to get up and running with Truckee Meadows and start responding as soon as possible.
With that, I will open it up to any questions.
Christy Evans.
Hi, Dave. Thanks so much for coming out. So can you explain what this means in practical terms? So Truckee Meadows is what in terms of our volunteer fire department? Are they the agency? They oversee it? How does that work?
Yes, in kind of easy terms, Truckee Meadows Fire is the fire expert that I have my ability to have come up here and assist the volunteers, much like they do with volunteers down in the Truckee Meadows area. Now it's a little bit different. They recognize that things are, remote up here. They're different. So some of the things that they do for the volunteers in the Truckee Meadows area, which is really basic wildland and some basic EMS. We've talked about them, expanding up here and allowing the volunteers to actually fight fire and do some of those other sorts of things and structure fires. And so it's a little bit different than the direction they've gone in, in the more populated area. But I think it's a good move for them to be able to assist up here. Now, there's been discussion around training and how does that work and where do we provide that training? I have commitments from the battalion chiefs to be able to send people up here to help train this community. Now, the other piece of that is we would actually like at some point for this community to train as well with Warm Springs and some of those others who will probably be coming up this way as well. So they are really working on behalf of Washoe County to assist and oversee kind of the day-to-day paperwork and liability issues and all those other sorts of things with volunteers.
Amazing. I don't know whether this is for the Gerlach volunteer department, but it would be great to have a little flyer up because I know we talk about it here, like we need more volunteers and then we all go home. But I'm wondering if we can get something that tells people where to go or what to do if they're interested that we could get in the post office just so it's there. Russell.
Well, and Candy and I can assist with that as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's really helpful actually to know. To know that Truckee Meadows is involved and is supporting us. So thank you. That was my question.
Shotzi?
Thanks for bringing the tilt, Dave. Are we also a line item on this year's budget to talk about the funds that we are getting currently and what we need to have in order to support a fire department as well as a ambulance service so that
Yeah, absolutely. So we are at Washoe County going to be getting into budget season coming up here October, November, right? That's the discussion around when those things start. I've already started those conversations with our budget team saying, hey, we know what we've got with Royal Ambulance, the concerns and struggles we're having with the state. We know what that looks like for next year. But also to your point, what does this really look like? How do we properly support the volunteers? I've been beating the bush with other volunteer fire department organizations to see if we can get some donations up here to assist the volunteers as well. I think it's, like you all know, it takes a village to do a lot of different things. And especially when we get this far north, there are a lot of people that really care about, fire service and what that really means. And so I've got some contacts, with some of the volunteer organizations down in Reno. I've got a fairly sizable commitment as soon as we can get some people involved and up and running. We don't want to just, cut a check to someone and have it sit in a bank account and not do anything. So we are working pretty hard in at least getting those donations, not necessarily to assist the issue we've got with Washoe County, but this is really to help get the volunteers on their feet for the things that the volunteers need to have, whether it's t-shirts and hats and all those other sorts of things, flyers and barbecues, whatever that looks like to get the more people to volunteer.
hard work you do for us too, Dave.
Any more questions or comments from the board? Questions or comments from the general public? Anyone online, Candy? Oh, no, I'm sorry. We
Nope.
do have one.
There's no one.
There's actually a battery mic underneath there if you want to.
I'd like to thank Mr. Salerno for all the efforts he's done to try to solve this problem. And on the subject of wildfire prevention and wildland fires that the Truckee Meadows specializes in, I'd like to suggest that an ounces of prevention might be the pound of cure business, and anything we can do to mitigate the weeds out here, the standing deadwood that is so prevalent, would be greatly appreciated. And if there's any way to, first of all, thanks for getting the firefighter's house cleared up. Somebody handled that giant weed load within the last month, and you have my gratitude in the towns, because that was county work handling that. And if that can be an example for what further can be done, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you very much. Don't go far, I think. Okay, next is item 7, Burning Man community reflection and input to Washoe County on event permitting. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this item over to Christy.
Thank you, Russell. All right. Thanks, everyone. Christy Evans. So I want to kind of be clear about a couple things about the goal of the reason why I asked this item to be on the agenda. Obviously, this is the Citizens Advisory Board. Community input is welcome, so we certainly want to hear from the community. We specifically asked Washoe County to be here, and Dave drew the straw, lucky man. And so we're clear that the Citizens Advisory Board is a function of Washoe County. So what I want to do tonight is express to Washoe County what we would like to see as more support from them. That's my goal in creating this agenda. We also invited the Bureau of Land Management. Jonah Bluestain is here, your BlackRock field manager. Okay, there you go. Who joined us. He's involved with Burning Man permit, and obviously we have folks from Burning Man that we always invite as well. So, but the goal of me putting this agenda item on is kind of twofold. One, I want to identify what I saw were some particular challenges during the event in the town of Gerlach and Empire, of course. And two, and this is really important, I want to put forward, and I have a proposal that I'll go through, of what I think, and I obviously want the board and the community input of our request of Washoe County, being the entity and the agency who the Gerlach Empire communities are part of. In that, what we're requesting of them to help make better in the future. So I want this to be goal-oriented, solution-oriented. I don't want this to be a, oh my God, let's complain about everything. And just to be clear, I'm not anti anybody or any event or anything in this. I really want to find some solutions. So, so just to be clear about what the CAB is and what we're doing. So I want to start by just kind of identifying the problems that I saw that I would like to see addressed. And in this particular instance this year, it had to do with rain and playa closures. It could be other incidents in the future, but that's what we saw. So Sunday night, August 24th, of course, incoming rain, Burning Man playa closure in effect. That's unfortunately a very busy ingress day for Burning Man, so there's still a lot of traffic and people coming in. I do understand that at some point traffic was stopped, Wadsworth, Nixon, somewhere down there from coming, but by the time that happened, or maybe in the course of that happening, there were still many, many vehicles that ended up in Gerlach and Empire. I never want to leave out Empire. You know how it goes. And unfortunately, I think as we know, it's a tiny little town and it's a lot of people. And so what ends up happening, and what did happen, is that there were people parked everywhere. Private property, public roads. The town was completely packed, people's driveways, everywhere. With generators running, music playing. I got reports from community members that they couldn't get to work the next morning because they couldn't get out of their driveways. And that was a very frustrating thing for them. So on the morning of 8/25, that was the Monday morning, when I came down to the center of town, what I saw was traffic completely stopped, people out of their cars from the 8 Mile entrance to almost Empire. And this wasn't like stop and go traffic. This was not moving out of their cars. Nothing's happening. So people couldn't get anywhere. They couldn't go to work. If there was an emergency, the entire road was blocked. There was no way to do anything. So I thought a lot about this. I want to be clear on kind of where I see some weak points. So the Burning Man posts on their dashboard when there's a playa closure, telling people don't come, don't park in Gerlach, don't do these things. But the reality is they do, and there's no guidance as to what to do once they get here. Where should they go? What should they do? And so that's, I think, a problem, is that once they're here, then what? The other major problem I see is there are just simply not enough sanitation services in this town for when there's hundreds or thousands of people stuck here. We simply do not have enough bathrooms for that many people in this town. And I see that as a major safety problem that we have got to address. Obviously, trash accumulates. That's fixable, but it is a nuisance that people do complain about. The other thing that was frustrating to me is that it seems that there's nobody here in charge, that we're kind of left on our own to figure it out, with the exception, of course, of our Washoe County Sheriff's Office deputies. And that's something I'd like to see changed. On Monday morning, I went down to the Burning Man office to see who I could talk to about how to address some of these things. And what I found were two people who work in the office, lovely human beings, but had absolutely no authority or no idea what to do. And what they told, I said, we need more bathrooms. What are we going to do about this? And it was not within their capacity to do anything about it, understandably. And so they were turning people away from the office that wanted to use the bathroom because no one has enough bathrooms. I then went to our local sheriff's deputies, Stapleton and Cruz, and I said, we've got a problem with bathrooms. We got to do something about this. And they got on the phone to Burning Man themselves, trying to see if we could get more porta potties, I believe. Some other members of our community were trying to get solutions to this as well. So, you know, everybody was trying to solve it, but that was a problem. So then we get to Tuesday night, another rain event, playa closure. And luckily there's less traffic coming in that time. But I was thinking, okay, what are we going to do in advance? So I went down to the Black Rock Rangers, who are their Gerlach Ranger Patrol. And I said, all right, guys, playa closure, it's rain. What's the plan? And they said, we don't know yet. So I said, here's what I would do if I were you. And I laid out exactly what I thought they should do. They don't have to listen to me. I just gave them my suggestions. Luckily, it was what I think is their A team, strong rangers, and they spent the night trying to keep people from parking in people's driveways and keep people off private property, which was very much appreciated. And they were up all night doing so. But it was concerning to me that there just didn't seem to be a coordinated effort there. But I do want to appreciate what they did, at least on Tuesday night into Wednesday. So here's kind of a summary. I also went and talked to the Washoe County Sergeant Miller, I believe. And I said, do you know what the contingency plan is? And he said, no, but I'm frustrated because I'd like to know. So again, it feels to me like the people on the ground don't know what the plan is. And so we're kind of out here. So here's kind of what I want to try and get. We've got agencies in the room, and I want to get you guys to figure this out. I know in the past there's some kind of finger pointing that goes on. So Burning Man takes place on federal land in Pershing County, but here we are in Washoe County, and they're all going through Washoe County. And I want to figure out a way that we're not finger pointing that it's someone else's problem, because what we as the residents want to see is a solution. The other thing that I found really, really frustrating, and I'm pretty understanding to this. I'm not one of those people that says nobody cares about Gerlach, because I actually think Washoe County does care about Gerlach. What I felt like happened this year was totally predictable and totally preventable. And that's why I got frustrated, because 2 years ago when we had the whole rain event, we had meetings about it. We talked about what the contingency plans and tabletop exercises. And so on Monday morning, when there was no one here to take care of anything, it was like, well, what do you mean? We just had we had this 2 years ago. I thought we had a plan, and it seemed like there was no plan. So that was really the impetus for my frustration, is that just was confused as to why this seems such a surprise or that there was nothing to do. I do want, I think, the agencies, both Burning Man and BLM and Washoe County, to understand that when the folks end up here, the people they're coming to for answers are the residents, because that's who they find. So we are essentially the answers to what burners want to know. Where do I go? What do I do? When are they opening the gate? What should I do this? And so we are actually the ones answering those questions. And to be honest, and I don't mean this to sound threatening in a bad way, but when they're asking us, where should I go and what should I do? I'm not sure that Burning Man or BLM really wants us to be the ones on the front lines of answering those questions at this point. Because I got some ideas now, but I won't be mean about it. But it feels, you know what I'm saying? It feels like people are looking for answers, and the people they're finding are the residents who are frustrated. So all that being said, here is my proposal, or here's what I'd like to see, because I want to find an actionable item in the future. So I wrote this up. I'd love your feedback. And this is what I would propose we vote on. The Gerlach Empire Citizens Advisory Board requests Washoe County to work with the appropriate entities to formulate a written plan for playa closures or other incidents causing significant traffic backup during the Burning Man event to mitigate the following issues impacting the communities of Gerlach Empire. Number one, an adequate plan for sanitation facilities in Gerlach Empire. This could include the staging of a pumper truck to continually service the porta potties in town or the placement of additional porta potties. Number two, a traffic mitigation plan, including a location for vehicles to stage so they don't overrun Gerlach. There's lots of BLM land around here. Burning Man owns the 360 property. It's up to you guys to figure out what that is, but I think we need a plan for that. Specifically identifying who's going to be managing and implementing that traffic plan. I would like to see number three, a point of contact from Washoe County who is present in Gerlach and who can address immediate safety issues. One of the biggest challenges is we have no one to go to. And so I would love to have somebody from the county as that point of contact to help us. I think we should see number four, a requirement that Burning Man has a team of people in Gerlach in advance of a playa closure or other incident, including someone who has the authority to address issues related to sanitation, traffic, and trash. The lack of anybody with any authority to talk to is a big challenge for us. Number five, dissemination of this plan to the relevant agencies working in Gerlach Empire, for example, the Sheriff's Department, and the community, so that we're all aware as a community what the plan is, who's in charge, and who we can go to if issues arise. So those are my thoughts. We first usually open it up to the board to see if they have any questions or thoughts.
Yes, well, I like what you've done here. I think these are solid recommendations. It's a good starting point for public input. And I really like the way that you phrased that this was completely predictable and preventable. Well, we're talking about a 1/4 inch of rain here. This was not an alien invasion or a meteor impact. Like, this is something that happens all over the world every day. And we really did not respond well to it, considering that we had a full dress rehearsal 2 years ago. One thing I would maybe add to the plan is that we know what the evacuation plan is. The last time, maybe it rained a little worse, or maybe people panicked a little more because it was the first time this had happened. And a lot of people had to get off playa really fast, and nobody knew what the plan was. And it was very similar. Had a lot of people in town who didn't know where they should go or who they should talk to or what they were waiting for. And, if you're out running around for a living, like a lot of us are, sometimes you get the same questions all day and you don't know what to tell people. You don't know where they should go or what they should do or who they should ask even. So I would like to add a written evacuation plan be shared with the community as well.
Thanks, Christy. Shotzi for the word. Just sitting there listening, it was as if you'd summed up every meeting I've been to for the last 14 post-Burning Man debriefs. And several of the people who are online right now and several of the people who work for the org also attended those meetings and heard these over and over. So I appreciate you putting it on one piece of paper because it is something we have talked about over and over and over. And the fact you said solution based, I don't have anything to add to yours because you covered absolutely everything I've heard for 14 years. And I appreciate the fact that they give Gerlach and some people around here a free ticket to go to the event. So technically we got a little $400 off on our taxes somewhere. And I like the 0.1 access and I like all of that. And I don't really care if I piss somebody off right now. The fact that the 70,000 person party raised $2,300 to get us off the grid, and we dealt with garbage on the side of the road, garbage in our one and only leftover telephone booth, garbage piled up in front of the doors of our bars, people, once again, crapping in parking lots. And we raised $2,300 for the 70,000 person party, and we can't even get enough porta potties for their party guests to poop in when they close the front door. Yeah, I'm a little ticked. So I hope somebody out there is listening and we can come to some solutions because end of thread. Climate change is here. It is going to rain regularly. It is going to have all kinds of stuff. Fire can happen, everything. I asked earlier at last meeting, do we have an emergency plan in case of a mass shooting or something? They said yes. Do we have anything to deal with rain, broken down cars, head-on wrecks, stopping traffic? Do we have any plans for that? No, let's just throw a party.
Well, hold on, they're online, but
Brandy Wilbur for the record. Yeah, Christy, you pretty much said everything that I could have thought. I will bounce a little bit on the Empire side of it because we deal with things a little differently over there because we're not a town. Like here, nobody can come down into the gates and park in our driveways, which is wonderful. But I work the gas line probably 12 to 18 hours a day for 6 days in a row. And I I do become like a travel coordinator, asker. I get all the questions. How long is it from gravel to gate? How long is it from Gerlach? How long is the gas line in Gerlach? But the biggest question was, where do I go because the playa is closed? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where to tell you to go. And we don't have a Walmart parking lot just tucked back around the way that I can send you to. I can only tell you to keep going forward. They did utilize our parking lot a little bit, which is the parking lot of Empire, as everybody knows, is a contention between myself and Burning Man's organization. We actually, one of the sheriff's department or one of the guys did come over and put people in the parking lot because it's one of the only places that can hold probably, I mean, if you really want to stack them in there, maybe 100 vehicles or so. And our porta potties became overflown as well. But we pay for those ourselves. Burning Man does not pay for the porta potties in Empire. I spend about $10,000 of our store's money for porta potties in Empire. That's not done by Burning Man. I don't have another $10,000 to add double because there's stopping of traffic. I don't have that much money. I mean, $10,000 is kind of crazy that I even spend on porta potties as it is out of our own money just for people to stop and use the bathroom and not even go in the store. But I don't have another $10,000 because there's backup for sanitation. So that is a very good point. I really don't have much else. Empire's a little different, but we still dealt with a lot of some similar issues over there.
Louis Chris here for the record. Christy, thank you so much for summing that up. As someone who worked at the Gerlach office the last 2 years and worked there when the rain event happened last time, I get it, and it is, yeah, we had many debriefs and many things that could have been communicated better. So my ask with this as well is to see the creativity come out. That closure order is pretty big. I'd love to see some creativity around how they can make that work, even if there is not a rain event. Maybe as a way so that traffic never even backs up to Gerlach to begin with, first off. And second, utilizing their land, whether it be at 360, the Showers property, working with the county for maybe a special use permit for the sake of emergency parking in the events of these situations. And yeah, just overall actually getting it done and disseminating the information ahead of time so that no one is really caught with their hands in the air. Like, what do we do? Because it's not the first time Burning Man has happened and it won't be the last. So it's like, get it together. And we get it that the event is stressful, not only for everyone that goes to it, but also the people in our town. And we have all these debrief meetings. I'm just worried that all this information goes into a filing cabinet and isn't looked at until there's another emergency or another problem. So that would be my ask, is to not let things fall into a filing cabinet for when things get bad, because it tends to be a habit.
Public comment. Can we open it up to public comment now?
Jackson, for the record, I have three things I'd like to address. This has got to be the only event on the planet where the organizers aren't required to supply trash collection for their participants. This whole pack it in, pack it out. Great. Then you leave and you toss it all along the streets of Gerlach on the highway going both north and south. It's ridiculous. They need to have dumpsters out there for their participants, period. And it would even be nice if they had some here around in town, like by their office. My second thing is I have to go out 447 every morning to take care of my livestock. Having somebody asleep in their car that's supposed to be flagging, or having somebody with their back to the traffic waving at everybody when they're leaving, is absolutely no good. One day I was coming in from the ranch, the county guys were going out, and I finally honked my horn and and stopped the traffic coming off the playa. That's the other thing, and this has been talked about forever, is the same junk vehicles that were wrecked 3 years ago are still parked along the street. The same abandoned trailers are still parked along the street, and Burning Man should be responsible. Some of those are theirs and some of them are their participants, but they all end up being parked around the county yard and going down the streets. I would like to see that gotten rid of, and I would really like to see their people that work for them register their cars in Nevada, or at least register their cars so we know they've got insurance. There are a lot of non-registered vehicles running around town for people that work for Burning Man. Thank you for listening to me.
Anyone else? Come on up.
For the record, thank you so much for putting together the plan that addresses quite a lot of the call to actions that I was planning on doing. Just to kind of continue to complain just a little bit to get those on the record, but then also to back up your call to action. The school, somebody defecated on the sidewalk of the school. School has had a history of people trying to camp on the school. There was somebody that tried to party on my bus one year. So and that was during 2023 when people didn't know where to go. They wanted a place to party, so they chose my bus. So it would be great to have some type of signage in town that basically is like private property, or private, roads, do not go down, do not drive, no public parking, something like that to discourage people from even coming into our roads. But I also want to kind of echo what I've heard here. It's kind of disappointing to see people saying, I don't know where to go, when 360 and Showers is completely empty, and they'd be a perfect place for an emergency parking lot. Also, during the times when the weather was great and people were just passing through, Diablo became a major hurdle for me to get my bus through, because people are parked on either side because they want to enjoy the town. So I also wanted to put it out there that the Showers would be a great place for event parking, just for people that are passing through that want to enjoy the town and need a place to park their large vehicles that isn't Diablo and on both sides. So now it's suddenly barely a one lane road. My own neighbors, I didn't have this happen to me, but my own neighbors had people constantly block them in, running generators, playing music like you talked about. So I think everybody in town, it will be very happy to hear the proposal that you've put forward. And I know I can speak for my neighbors, I think, in saying that we'll fully support this, and whatever can be done on our end to help push this forward and keep people accountable, we will do so. So thank you.
Thanks, Taylor. Anyone else wish to give? Carl coming up?
Carl Kopeck for the record. I've been attending this Burning Man thing for 30 years, and the first year I attended, a massive rain cloud hit the thing and drenched us first day, and then it came back a couple days later and did it again. So rain is sort of peanut butter and jelly with this event as far as I'm concerned, and should be no surprise whatsoever. And I learned something in college from a guy from Oklahoma. He flunked out almost instantly, but he taught me something I'll never forget. Failure to plan is planning to fail. And that just stuck so hard in my head. I can't go forward in life in anything mission critical without a plan. And to know that the organization I work for is operating in this town without a plan for the traffic rolling through it and a contingency for weather just blows my mind. And I really need to call on the whole organization to step up on this matter, because it's grinding the gears of this town that is so under stress from this event. We're just hanging on by our fingernails emotionally, myself particularly. This just troubles me to no end, and I'm looking for solutions, as is Christy and everybody in this room. We need to go forward, not backwards. And clearly this year was a step backwards that was not helpful for anyone. We started to make progress, but it went nowhere. The leadership vacuum in Gerlach, I'll not tell you what I think of it, but it was not good. There's a verb. Parking lots on 447. Everybody who goes to that event pays $30 to the state of Nevada in a tax. That $30 multiplied can make God's own parking lot on each side of the road, coming, going on both sides of the road. I call on the BLM and the state of Nevada, Washoe County, to invest in those parking lots once and for all for the people of the event and the people of Gerlach, so they have a place to park in the event of emergency in a weather event. Put 40 acres of parking before Gerlach, after Gerlach, on both sides of the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. Anyone else would like to give public comment? Yeah, come on up.
Bill Gooch, for the record. I live here in Gerlach. I live on Main Street. I see the worst of it. We have garbage all around our fence. Our fence has been hit 3 times this year. Out of the last 6 years, our fence has been hit 5 of those 6 years. Burning Man came by, one of their board members, and said that they would take care of it and fix it. Never saw him again. I do know who that person is. And he made it very, very plain to me that they were going to really take care of it and handle it. The traffic this year, these people, I wish the state of Nevada could change something on the driving of what vehicles these people can drive. Because you got so many people in these big U-Hauls and stuff that have no idea how big their vehicles are. They're doing U-turns in front of my house by the pizza place. I know the Washoe County deputies spent most of their time in front of our place, either with an accident or somebody running into one another or someone almost getting hit or got hit. And then I also would like to talk about these CDLs too. I noticed as you were saying earlier, some of these people, we had a truck driver that had a seizure, I believe, as a person who used to be an EMT, in front of my house and jackknifed the truck. And this could have gotten a lot worse. You could have taken out my place, my dad's place, people sitting there eating pizza. So they really need to check into these things. There was also another truck that went by in the middle of the night on fire. And why this end of the town is still not burnt is beyond me. So they need to tackle this CDL stuff and some of these ways that they can get the people to drive these vehicles to understand that it's not a car. It's just way too big and they can't just park it anywhere. You know, I understand you talk about parking lots in different places. You got gravel pits all over out here. Put them in it. You know, so that's my little 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? Candy, do we have anyone online that would like to give public comment?
Nobody has their hand raised. Oh, I'm
Amazing.
sorry. We just had a hand raised. Marnie Benson from Burning Man would like to speak.
Fantastic. Hi, Marnie.
Hi, good evening. This is Katie Hoffman from
Katie.
Burn Project. I'm having difficulties adjusting my settings in the webinar format, but for the record, I am the Agency Relations Manager for Burning Man Project. We appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. As my colleague Greg mentioned, this meeting is usually held in October, which gives us a bit more opportunity to come with solutions and understand data and trends and talk with our agency partners, but we are taking diligent notes about what we're hearing tonight. Just to provide a little bit of background on some of the topics we've been hearing about. We do place sanitation resources in Gerlach to support the participants that may stop on their way to the event. You know, we did have a multi-day sustained set of storms come through, which, you know, led to the need for more resources, and we did place those when that issue was raised. We do coordinate with multiple agencies to manage traffic, both Nevada Department of Transportation, Nevada State Police, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, and we know they work really hard along 447 and Highway 34 to help manage those vehicles. It was challenging this year with the gate closures. In addition to those agencies, we also fund traffic control operations through Silver State Sign and Barricade. We extended their work a number of times this year in response to traffic control issues that arose. For example, in Empire, we extended their flagging efforts. They have 3 flaggers and a crosswalk and other resources placed in Empire, and we extended the duration of that in response to the storms and the increased parking. We do know that commercial traffic is a significant issue. The size of those vehicles makes you know, them a particular focus of concern on 447 and 34. And we understand that Nevada State Police really did step up their commercial enforcement efforts this year along those highways. With respect to trash, our trash and highway cleanup operations have been in full swing since last week. They have been combing up and down Highway 447, 446, and 34. They run from Cedarville down to Wadsworth and will continue to be going through communities and along highways, picking up any trash that they find until the end of September. I appreciate this opportunity to provide a little bit of background. My colleague Greg Herrera might have some more insight, particularly on the coordination we do with law enforcement agencies around traffic, but glad to be able to provide this information at this time.
Thank you. Anyone else online wish to speak?
I do not have anyone else with their hand raised.
Amazing. Any other final thoughts? So I guess where I still come back to this, and Dave, you're the man in the room, so I'm afraid it's targeted at you. I really would like to see Washoe County as a partner in this. And I know Burning Man, of course, that it's Burning Man's event and it's on BLM land. But ultimately we're part of Washoe County, and I feel like we need more support from Washoe County to support advocate for the needs of the town. And that's really, I think, the crux of what I wanted to get to with this agenda item. I'm not anti-Burning Man. I'm not suggesting any of that stuff. I know trash pickup right now is ongoing. It's really when we have these critical masses that it becomes a real problem. So I'm not suggesting any widespread anything, but I think we need a plan. And that's what I'd like to see. And so I don't know what that looks like going forward, but I would really like to see Washoe County have a seat at the table with the BLM who issue that permit and make this a solution to this, a contingency plan to this be integral to that permit. And hence why I got on the phone to the BLM. Any other I'd like to propose that we vote on something that we can then send to Washoe County so that they have something written from the community of what we're asking them to work on. If that seems.
Well, in that case, I'll hear a motion.
Well, do you want me to?
Louise said to add something to it. So I like what you wrote, but there were some suggestions along the line. So could you get a possible revised format to give me a motion to make? What was the thing he wanted added? You don't remember?
It's here for the record. It was innovative solutions around their properties in town and how Washoe County can possibly implement a special use permit for the sake of creating an emergency parking lot in the event of a weather occurrence.
Right. That was very good. I'd like to make a motion that we put into a letter that Christy has suggested and read at this meeting with the addition of finding a solution to add some of the Burning Man properties for emergency parking and forward that to BLM, Washoe County, and the Burning Man administration.
So it feels to me, and I welcome the county. It feels to me that the county is our agency representative, and therefore this should go to the county, and the county should bring it on our behalf to whoever they feel is
I
the
amend
most
my motion.
appropriate. Dave, do you have any thoughts that you could share with us? I'm sorry, to anything you wanted to.
Well, hold on just a second. I think we're in the middle of a motion.
I know, but I realize that postponing the motion for a minute.
Okay.
Postponing my motion, strike that.
For the record, Dave Solero, Assistant County Manager. I certainly think this is a good first step in putting something in writing to Washoe County to say, hey, these are the concerns that the citizens of Washoe County in Gerlach have regarding this specific event. Now, we have talked a lot about parking and kind of the impacts that these specific things have on the town. This doesn't occur every single year. There are other potential concerns. That would be my only piece, is there might be something else that this board may want to provide feedback to Washoe County regarding just during a normal year. Now, the authorities and what we get there, I've got some ideas going through my brain on how we can do some things that are maybe a little bit different or different thinking than potentially we've tried in the past. So just sitting here, understanding what we've got here, I think there are some homegrown solutions within the town of Gerlach. I think there are some assets here that can actually do some things. So like I say, I need to vet these thoughts that I've got before I throw them out on the table, because I've got a whole sheet of notes and I will need something from you as well, because I didn't take all of the notes. So certainly I do believe, though, that Washoe County is the entity that you ought to send your letter to. So
Thank you.
Well, while we're thinking about the wording of this motion, I'd like to be clear that we're not asking Burning Man. We're asking Washoe County
Correct.
to require Burning Man as a requirement of continuing to do this in the future.
And I do in the spirit of finding creative solutions, my goal is to identify, I think our goal is to identify some challenges and then allow the folks that understand more about, jurisdiction and codes and what's allowed and not allowed to actually then sort of sort through some of that. Because I've got some ideas, but you might go, well, that's not even allowed. That's not even legal, right? So, so that's, yeah. And there may be other creative solutions that we could come up with. I just, sometimes I think what we feel is a lot of people don't see what's going on. So now we're going to put it down. Sorry, we were in the middle of the motion and I totally derailed us and I apologize.
Chair Byerly? You did
Yes.
have a person that raised their hand online. Greg Herrera has raised his hand.
Can we revisit public comment or do we need to wait until we have a motion and a second?
You probably have to wait to have a motion, and then I believe that's when you call for public comment.
Okay, in that case, I'll hear a motion.
Try to. I'd like to move that we submit the material that Christie provided earlier with some additions, including the creative possibility of using some Burning Man land to Washoe County as our entity, and they can take it further and create some more ideas. And then we'll talk again. I'd also like to add that maybe bi-monthly we visit this, every other month. That's my motion.
I second that.
Greg?
Oh,
Did we go to Greg now?
well, and let we go to Greg online. We
Hey,
have a
Chair,
motion and a
can-
second. Do we
Chair,
have
can
any
you hear
comment
me?
in chambers? Yeah, hang just a second. We're
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah. Do we have any comment in chambers? I don't see anybody. No. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
Hey, Chair, sorry for jumping in late. Greg Herrera for the record is, racking my brain, and from my perspective, and granted, I'm on Playa. I wasn't in Gerlach during the event, but I just for the record, we do have a plan that we enacted, both times during the rain events when we closed Playa, and I was on the phone, numerous phone calls nonstop with both the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and NSP, and closing 447 to avoid buildup. And obviously, based upon the feedback I've heard tonight, we missed, possibly our point by, quite a bit due to the buildup in Gerlach, because that's certainly our intent, is to lessen the impact on the communities along 447, Gerlach, Empire, and Nixon. And so, I'm just trying to rack my brain. For the record, I want to put on the record that we do have a plan. It wasn't acted. I was on the phone pretty much nonstop with NSP, Washoe County, and Katie was on the phone with NDOT. But it sounds like we, obviously have room for improvement and possibly things to add to our plan about communication, and maybe different points as far as population and buildup in Gerlach needs to be added in that. Just some of my thoughts I wanted to put on the record. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no further public comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh. Did you have a public comment?
We're going to rewind a little bit. We do have a public comment here in chamber.
A lot of people don't realize that the property line of yours to the highway is 20 feet, and that belongs to Washoe County. Now, if you go down there where Phil is, or Risa, they got all those metal dragons right to the edge of the pavement, and some of them are even a little bit. If you try to drive your tire down alongside there, you'll hit one of these things. That place is a total junkyard, and something needs to be done about it. And Washoe County should be doing something about it because, like I said, that's their property.
Thank you.
Did we completed the vote, correct?
I believe we did. Candy, does that count? Did we complete the vote?
I'm not sure if you asked if there were any nays, and then if the vote carried.
Were there any nays? Seeing none, I think the motion carries.
Thank you.
Amazing. I want to say a special thank you to Burning Man, to the BLM, to Washoe County for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. I know you all work really hard, and this is a lot of stuff going on in a very compacted period of time. So much due respect to all of you and all of your efforts. And I know that we can do better, and I know that we will do better, and we'll work together. And I have a lot of faith in that. And I know, I'm sure there are some plans, and now we just need to tweak them and probably have a way for the residents to have someone to go to talk about stuff in the moment. Although we are very good at making stuff up ourselves, but I think we can still do better. And so I really want to appreciate all of you for taking the time to listen. And I want to give an extra special thanks to our sheriff's deputies who also took the time to listen throughout the week. And I appreciate them, and to all of you for giving public comment. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 8, Neighborhood Development Hub. Candy?
Everyone. My name is Candy Ramos, for the record. As we do each month, I wanted to share with you how to find out about any upcoming developments that might be heading to the Gerlach Empire area. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can walk you through how one might do that if I weren't doing it in the moment. Can you see my screen with the balloons in the air?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Perfect. So this is washoecounty.gov. If you simply go right on the homepage, this is the easiest way to find it. You look for neighborhood developer meeting and you give it a search, and it will pull up some various search results from within the page. You just click on neighborhood meetings, and this will take you to our community services development page, where you will see where applicants can apply. And this is where residents will want to visit. It's the neighborhood developer schedule, the meeting schedule. I did some looking ahead of time. There is nothing coming up in the Gerlach area, but we do like to show you all, just in case, that you can look at this both by map. So you'll see all of these polka dots over here. These are any upcoming or recently passed meetings. The only event in the area was the Iverson Ranch event. When you see over here, you can go over here to the left-hand side, and it is the project list in alphabetical order. You'll see that this public meeting took place on August 6th. It outlines the district. It gives a small project description. It says who the developer is, the parcel number, and here you will find all of the information that the developer put out. So the neighborhood the meeting summary, things like that. Right now, as I mentioned, there are no upcoming developments in your area, but if you wanted to be proactively notified of anything that might be coming up, maybe you don't like to just come on here and check it out regularly, there is an opportunity to sign up to receive these meetings. So again, if you're at washoecounty.gov and you scroll towards the bottom, there's an area where you can sign up to receive email updates that interest you. You all in Gerlach are in District 5, and there's also an opportunity to sign up for neighborhood developer meetings. If someone chose to sign up for one or both of those, they would be notified of any upcoming meetings that were taking place in the area. The developer meetings take place very early in the process, so that any public input has the opportunity to be integrated into the developer's plans. Does anyone have questions on the development meeting hub? Because I also wanted to share with you for openings. We always are looking for people to become involved in Washoe County boards and commissions. Right now, there are no openings, but I did want to share with you how you would find that. Again, you go to washoecounty.gov. On the homepage, you look for board openings. There are no board openings right now, but there are always opportunities for people to volunteer, including our CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. You could be a CASA, legal defense volunteer, and I will speak with Mr. Solero, who's in the room. Perhaps we can add Gerlach Volunteer Fire Department to this list. Does anyone have any questions about this? Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Next is item 9. We have a report on requests for service from previous CAB meetings. Do we have anything for that, Candy? I don't recall anything.
We do not. It was just the request to have the feedback opportunity for the Burning Man event, which we just did.
Fantastic. Next will be item 10, commissioner and board member items. Our commissioner is not on this call, is she?
I have not seen her name pop up.
Okay, wonderful. Do any board members have any items they'd like to discuss this time? All right. That's a first. Yeah, we don't have any. All right, moving right along to our final item, general public comment. Do we have any public comment? Dave Solaro, come on up.
Good afternoon. For the record, Dave Solaro, Assistant County Manager. Really appreciate the dialogue and the input from the community this evening. I did want to share with you some good news. So I don't know, for probably the past 10 years, Washoe County has been trying to get a grant to improve the roadway on 34 because it was really it was paved for a use that is not being used for today. We'll put it that way. And so we've been trying and trying and trying. Well, we finally received a $29 million federal land access program grant. So the design is going to start within this next 6 months. We're going to have to accept this with the board. Actually, I don't even know if we need to officially accept it with the Board of County Commissioners because the federal government is actually going to do all the work. And so we do have a match portion of it. We've got that taken care of. But it's essentially going to be from the south end of the Y intersection at 34 and 447, as far north as $29 million will get us. Improvements to drainage, improvements to the roadway surface, a turn off lane for the 8-mile entrance to the playa. So pretty good news for the community up here, as well as Washoe County. Our roads crews spend an awful lot of time and effort keeping that roadway operational, and this is really a safety piece for them. I hate to have them out there during all of the traffic from Burning Man, or even just any daily commerce while we're taking care of that road. So hopefully this will allow us to move forward in a positive manner. So
thank you.
That's amazing. That's like we've been talking about this for years, and I'm so excited. Thank you, Dave. That's just fantastic.
Taylor?
Taylor Hubley for the record. Once again, that's amazing. As a bus driver who has to drive on that road every single day, that is by far the most dangerous part of my route. And I'm really grateful to hear about that, and excited to have new asphalt to drive on. So I didn't get to my call to action at the start of this. I'll skip the first one because you already covered it. I'm so happy to hear that. But the second one, as I mentioned, there's a site on 34, 16 on the 16-mile marker right across from Fly Geyser that recently opened it up as storage for camps and art cars. Whoever's running it, they're not using legal employment. I don't think those people are licensed. They've been very dangerous, and I've had 2 very close run-ins with them while they're transporting. So I wanted to just put it on record. If somebody who has any power can investigate that site and look into what's going on there, I'm pretty certain that that's a very dangerous operation that they've got going on. As I also mentioned, they have a 14-year-old that was driving vehicles. I saw it with my own eyes, vehicles that were towing camper trailers. I'm pretty certain that they don't know how to transport properly. They certainly were transporting oversized vehicles illegally multiple times, from what I saw, like pulling in and pulling out. And to Burning Man, if there's any consideration that you can make to also help mitigate this in some way, ultimately these storage sites have your name attached to them because these are Burning Man vehicles and Burning Man camps. And I would really hate for there to be, as I fear there may be one day, a news article that basically states that a Burning Man vehicle struck a school bus, and that local school children were injured, because it almost happened twice this year. So thank you very much.
Do we have any further public comment in chambers? Carl?
I've probably said enough, but Carl Kopek for the record. I'd like to thank all the people who came up at great distance to join our meeting this evening. I really appreciate you hearing our input and what we're doing, and especially Mr. Salerno, who brought us all the good news and is been working with us so closely. I'd like to apologize to everybody who was impacted by the Burning Man. On behalf of Burning Man, I know I'm the one Burning Man person. Well, there's a few of us in the room, but I will now put on my Burning Man hat and apologize for the impacts and the misbehaviors of the participants. I don't know what to say. That was ridiculous, and we're going to try to do better next time. As a participant, these are my people. Not all of them are exactly seeing eye to eye with me, but they are my people, and I'm going to speak to them. But I'm going to also speak to you and apologize. I'm thinking also about the traffic and how when you get off of Interstate 80, the Paiutes need to be party to this conversation about where to park if there's a closure and something's going on, because they are in possession of a lot of parking lots up there. That big powwow event is a massive parking lot. They have some other facilities that might be able to be utilized in conversations as a contingency. I socialize that notion that they might be willing partners to pay them to open up some parking where thousands of cars can stage as opposed to the side of the road. That would probably be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, any more comment in chambers? Seeing none, do we have comment online, Candy?
You have no one online.
In that case, I will hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I get that.
All in favor?
Aye.
To
Make sure
confirm
you
for the minutes,
sign
it
in
was
on our sign-in sheet. We need to
for the
show.
minutes, it was Luis who made the motion and
Yes.
Brandy who seconded. Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
I think I've worked it out. It takes a sharp finger.
Thank you very much, Candy.
Thank you,
See
everyone,
next
for
month.
coming.
Thank you, everyone. Drive safe. Hi, Tina.